Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Local and Foreign Debts on the new external borrowing in the 2025 Appropriation Act, refinance of maturing Eurobond, and issue the broad sovereign sukuk in the international capital market. Mr. President, you may wish to invite His Excellency, Most Distinguished Senator Wamako Magatar Kada Aliyu, the chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the Senate to receive and consider the report of the committee.
I call on the chairman of the committee, the second Yama of Sokoto, Senator Aliyu Magatakada Wamako, to move the motion to move the motion for the Senate to receive and consider the report. Your Excellency, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. My names are Aliyu M. Wamako, Sokoto North. Mr. President, I move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Foreign and Local Debt on the new external borrowings in 2025 Appropriation Act, refinance of maturing Eurobond, and issue a debate sovereign cooks in the international capital market. Mr. President, I so move.
Senator Ibrahim Hassan Dankwambu, former Accountant General of the Federation, former Governor of Gombe State. You may wish to second the motion.
Yeah. My name is Senator Ibrahim Dankwambu, representing Gombe North. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Senator Wamako for the report to be submitted. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion as moved and seconded, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, you may proceed. You can go ahead, yes.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, this report on the Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, what I referred from this Senate some 2 years ago, but because of some happenings, including the Constitutional Review Committee meeting in Lagos, it could not be submitted earlier than today. Mr. President, the committee had met and considered the request of Mr. President on this matter, and the recommendations by this committee are covered on, observations are on page 4, and recommendations are, Mr. President, on page 6 of this report as submitted. And after due deliberation, Mr. President, the committee came to the conclusion that this request be approved. The committee report proposed a program refinance essential due to 1. Bridge the financing gap in 2025 budget. 2. Prevent Eurobond default and preserve Nigeria's market credibility. 3. Diversify funding sources through ethical finance instruments. And 4. Support critical infrastructure projects that drive inclusive economic growth. Accordingly, the committee urges the Senate to approve the request of Mr. President as submitted. In conclusion, Mr. President, we are going to appreciate the Senate. Gratitude to the President of the Senate and the leaders of the Senate for the confidence reports on this committee. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you.
The Chief Whip.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished senators, this borrowing is within the public debt to GDP ratio, which is estimated at 39% and therefore remains within the international threshold of 55% to 60%. And because of that, since we are within that international threshold of 55 to 60%, and our public public debt to GDP ratio still remains at 39%, it's still sustainable. And I urge my colleagues to support this motion.
Thank you very much. And I call on the Chairman, Senate Committee on Finance to bear his mind. I'll give him 1 minute. Then, of course, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Banking, the famous Baba Adini of Ikorodu.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East. Thank you, sir. I think the committee have done. We must wait to welcome Mr. President.
Yes, distinguished Senator Sani Musa, continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I will extend my greetings to Mr. President before my comment.
Not your greetings, report yourself.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Mohammed Sani Musa, representing Niger East Senatorial District, and I stand to commend the committee, which I also belong to, for doing a wonderful job. Because already all the requests from Mr. President have already been captured in the medium-term expenditure framework for the 2026 to 2027, sorry. So it's very needful that we give approval to this request so that the 2025 Appropriation Act will be given the funding necessary. And I believe there is no much to talk about in this, because already in the fiscal policy is already captured. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments?
Yeah. And the next person.
Oh, Baba Adini.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, and I represent Lagos East Senatorial District. Not this thing. Mr. President, should I just continue? Well, Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, I also would like to lend my support to this request because this request, just like it has been presented, is more of a compliance issue because the 2025 Appropriation Act had already made provisions for deficit financing, which we had already approved. So the first two requests are more like a compliance issue in the sense that, one, the first one is to issue a resolution so that the borrowing component of the deficit already approved can also be made effective. While the second request, like the chairman mentioned, is a refinancing. So while the second request is can I continue? Yes. So like I said, the first request is a Mr. President. So the first request is actually nothing new, but a compliance request to issue a resolution to back the deficit that we had approved, which a portion of it is about to be contracted now. And of course, it is also to part finance the 2025 budget. While the second request of the Eurobond refinancing is also to ensure that the country does not default on the Eurobond that is due on November 21, 2025. And the last request, which is the Sukuk, is also to make, to create a more interesting basket for the Sukuk that has always been successful in financing most of our infrastructural projects. So the only thing I would like to add is that just like it has been mentioned in Note 5C, I will also want to support that the three committees, that's the Committee on Loans and Foreign Debt and of course Finance, should also exercise their oversight in ensuring that the compliance and the execution of all of these loans are adhered to. Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. So I also support as well. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Issa Jibrin.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, I am Issa Jibrin, representing the very good people of Kogi East. Mr. President, I want to commend the federal government, especially in the area of this issue of refinancing. I have discussed several times with the Honorable Minister for Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy that when a loan is increasingly becoming difficult to service, you try and refinance it. Refinancing is allowed so as to give you opportunity to spread the existing loan over a longer period and possibly at a much lower rate. So I want to commend the government for the issue of the refinancing. Refinancing is very key. Then generally talking about borrowing. Borrowing, some people I understand feel that Nigeria is over-borrowed. No, I don't believe so. The Nigeria revenue profile is on the increase. And the implication of that is that the federal government can now leverage on the increasing revenue profile to borrow more money. As your revenue increases, you are encouraged to even borrow more because that gives you the opportunity to leverage on the revenue. Having said that, I believe that the proposal here is good, and I want to commend the federal government for this proposal. It is apt, and it will go a long way to addressing some of the key infrastructural problems in Nigeria. I thank you.
Osho Baba.
Mr. President, sir, I rise to lend my support and commend the chairman and members of the Foreign and Local Debt Committee for a job well done. I have also listened very attentively to our distinguished colleagues who are in the financial sector and who are very much at home with these issues. The only thing I want to add, Mr. President, is the fact that on a previous occasion, we did agree that there is nothing wrong about borrowing, What is important is what the money will be used for. This is not borrowing to pay salaries. This is borrowing to fund substantially some of our infrastructural projects. And given the current level of unemployment and the state of our public infrastructure, whether it is road and others, obviously, we have to borrow to fix them so that the country will be in a state to go to a level that we can generate revenue to pay back. So I believe the committee has done a good job, and those who have spoken have further amplified the beauty of what, the benefit of what the federal government has asked us to do, and therefore I have no hesitation whatsoever in urging my distinguished colleagues to support this report and give it approval. Thank you, Mr. President.
Having received contributions in terms of comments from several senators, we now go to the recommendations. Number 1, implement the new external borrowing of $1,843,669,000,000. Point of order. What order? What order, Senator Sani Musa?
Morning.
$1 trillion naira, 849,786,987 naira 16 kobo only, which is equivalent to $1 billion 229,113,000 USD only, at the budget exchange rate of $1 to 1,500 naira. In the 2025 Appropriation Act for the part financing of the budget deficit. Those in favor of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This recommendation is hereby adopted and agreed upon. Number 2, refinance USD. Okay. Order. What order?
Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. The point of order I want to invoke is Order 5510. Just to refresh the memory of distinguished senators about the observance of our orders, not in breach, but in compliance. And subject to the indulgence of the President of the Senate, I will read the order, just to refresh the memory of distinguished senators, human memory being momentary. And the order reads, is Order 5510. 10 reads, during a sitting, all senators shall be silent or shall confer only in undertones. So in order not to distract the proceedings of the Senate, I urge my colleagues to observe these rules so that we will have a very seamless proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whip, for drawing the attention of the Senate to this very important order. Please, let's keep quiet and let's keep silence and do what is expected of us as the number 1 or the highest lawmaking body in this country. We need to exercise decorum, remain silent while we observe our proceedings. Your point of order is hereby upheld. Recommendation number 2. Refinance the USD 1,180,350,000 Euro bonds 7.625% USD 11 billion BN November 2025, maturing on November 21st, 2025. Those in favor of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Assess. Okay. much.